No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I appreciate your time. Today's show is very special to me because, as you know, I found out that Campbell's Soup is putting 3D printed chicken. Oh. You know, I stopped eating Campbell's Soup because of the, monosodium glutamate, which also Doritos uses. And there's many more, but still, it's a neurostimulant. It's not a food product at all. And we have no labeling, so we really have a tyrannical food supply system. And the importance of this show is my guest wrote a book, The ABCs of Food. And if and when we reset this country, I hope that I will nominate her as the health minister who would probably just might stop spraying glyphosate on our planet and the chemtrails perhaps, and bring us back to labels so we know and our money can go towards food that is actually going to be great for our bodies. Isn't that what health ministers should be doing? Anyway, I look forward to this conversation. My guest is coming on right. The ABCs of Food. I put the link to the Amazon right here. I put it in the comments so you can buy it. But let's hear more from my beautiful guest, who is one day after her birthday. So happy birthday and welcome, Tish, to the
Thank
show.
you so much. Such a pleasure to be with you. And I'm looking forward to this deep dive too. And I wanted to tell your audience, because that book, the way it went up in Amazon, I've written a second book in 23 called The Thrive Protocol, much more affordable on Amazon. And it covers not just, since my awakening, not just the food, but gives you all that, how to detoxify from all the things, and all of the tips to stay strong and resilient in this, spiritual warfare we're going through. So this book, The Thrive Protocol, is a great Christmas gift, and I think it's 29 or 27.95 on Amazon, so much more affordable. And if you're awake, it's a good guide. And if you're waking up or someone is, it's also helpful. It talks about all the frauds being perpetrated that are also making us sick. Everything's about poisoning our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and our souls.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I'm screaming from the hilltops as well.
Yes.
And I mean that's why you're here, because I'm compelled. I'm drawn to anyone who wants to better the lives of their fellow man. This isn't just about Canada. this is world, all mankind. This is everybody. We want the best for everybody, and we can have it. We have smart people. There
We
are
can.
smart people.
We're
So
getting there. We are.
if you, if you were nominated, would you accept the nomination for health minister?
Oh, that's like my future for sure. That's why I'm absolutely, God put me on this political path, and He doesn't do things in half measures. So
No.
it's definitely my future. I have the integrity, the intellectual capability, the deep knowledge in many people, but I have the heart and God's witness that I care about all people so much that I was willing to sacrifice my business, my friendships, my relationships for that critical thing of speaking the hard truths in a time when hard truths were punished. And I've stayed the course, and I will continue because it's my life mission to help people live healthier, happier lives. And I used to do, I'm a certified emotional intelligence trainer. As much as I believe you are what you eat, my first book was all about food because I lost my late husband to safe and effective, with a very curable autoimmune disease, and I watched him decline sadly over a decade, and then his life was ended. And so I'm committed to that. But I also see, without the other pieces, mental health and emotional health and spiritual health, that's what we need as in order to get through these times and come out ahead. And there's a lot of work to be done for ourselves, within our families, and within our communities and neighborhoods. And it does start with being aware of yourself, what you're putting in your body, if you're reaching for junk food, or you're not getting exercise, or you're drinking too much, or you're self-soothing with something that's hurting you, or you're ruminating over a potential conflict that maybe even never happened, or you're not forgiving someone who might have been having a bad day, and you turn it into like a 3-year hate-a-thon. All of these things make us sick. And so I do a lot of coaching with people, and I feel like it's a one at a time thing. It's a slow process of awakening within ourselves that awareness that we're hurting ourselves with what we put in our body, the way we think, the way we hurt each other. And that's where it all starts, with yourself. And I would absolutely love that role in the future.
Well, that's the other thing I love about you is this coaching, holistic approach. And this is the website, which I will also link for everyone. If you want to, know more, learn more, Tish Talk is on there as well. So you can watch those as well. I've watched them. If I
Oh,
can do it, so can you.
yes, exactly. No, I mean, I love helping people, transform their lives. And, transformational leadership, sort of something I stepped into many years ago with my recruiting firm. I started off with a talent solutions firm doing recruiting, and then my passion for health expanded into leadership and coaching, and then career coaching, and then wellness. And it was corporate to start, but when COVID hit, I really took a strong stand. I was deleted off LinkedIn, which was my bread and butter. I had like 25,000 clients. I warned them all about mandating the shot, which was to a normal person who wants to make a buck, was foolish. But for someone who's working for God, God called me to do this. It was exactly what I needed to do. Planted the seed, lost, all my contacts, was deleted off LinkedIn, but I've rebuilt. And I have almost the same number of followers now, but they're all like-minded. And so my impact is so great. Now if I post, I could get 2,000 people liking what I post. So I mean, my lesson to people is, don't be afraid to take a stand. Rebuilding there's something beautiful about starting over. I mean, it's like we go through that throughout life. Relationships end, you have to start over. Careers end, you have to start over. But there's something about that process of starting over, that refinement within our spirit, when you're going through, and then you're like, oh, I can do this a bit better. If you believe in yourself and you understand you're guided, then it's just taking the steps, having the courage to take the steps to start over is so critical. And you can, anything is possible. You're just like little steps every day. And so I do believe my future will be political. But in the meantime, I'm trying all sorts of new things. Some of them work, some of them don't, as well as doing a lot of volunteering now and, helping other people who are truth tellers. I had just a huge event last week with Matt Eric, who's a Canadian historian who's trying to promote truths about not only Canadian history and world events, but he does documentaries. And before that, Ray McGinnis came by, and he had written about the Freedom Convoy. And, these people are putting their whole living into telling the truth. And so I think it's important to support them. So they're doing the hard lifting. And it's important that we support them and support each other, anyone who's speaking the truth.
Unifying people is so important right now. They want us to pick sides all the time. Mask, non-mask, vax, non-vax, Palestine, Israel. They're constantly giving us two choices.
Mhm.
And that way they justify their bad actions.
Liberals, conservative. Yeah.
It's true. The whole system is completely paralyzed us. And that's not acceptable. But I
No.
mean, we are, freeing ourselves. We could face the Hannibal, the Hannibal Israel has a hold on us through banking cartel, and central banking, usury. Usury is illegal in a Christian country. It's not legal. You can't do that. That's before 1974. We had got our city council. Provincial government and federal government all got interest-free loans from the Bank of Canada.
Well,
In 1974, Pierre Elliott Trudeau changed that, and ever since then, our debt has gone up. And that is a kind of ownership, but certainly a theft and a slavery.
yes. And just like all the other healths I mentioned, financial health is also important. And our financial health, not only individually, but as a society and country, is atrocious. And, even, the way that we've gotten in these debt bubbles in Western countries, when Nixon took us off the gold standard in 71, it allowed for the banksters who are banksters to start just creating as much money as they want because it didn't need to be backed by anything. And that's when we saw the real assault on humanity in Western countries because they deindustrialized all of Western countries.
Yep.
So they took away all their development, manufacturing, which is where the jobs were, and everything turned into MIC jobs, service jobs, and debt. Financial debt bonds. And then the result of that, we had the subprime mortgage fiasco, which even affected me quite gravely and really set my husband up for his autoimmune disease because we owned a car dealership. It was his life dream to be a GM dealership. And we ended up getting a dealership, but it was just a few years in when everything went bankrupt and we almost lost everything. We had to remortgage our home. We had to sell the dealership at a loss. Luckily, we did that because a lot of dealers committed suicide. It was such a debt load. And you and I know now they did this deliberately. Like they've been playing us with the money system. They know when they're going to create a short. And, the whole system, I believe, is returning to God's money. And we are due for a financial reset. Money only lasts so long. All of the monies throughout history, except, gold and silver and precious metals, always hold their value. But we're in the middle, in my opinion, of a financial reset because our financial health has been so horrific. We're having the equivalent of a financial heart attack and are going to die. This currency is going to, have a it's rapidly declining. And so we'll move into what, I'm not sure what it will be, whether it will be a digital currency or a combination of something else. But yeah, it's just another one of the healths that we have to be mindful for. Are we spending more than we earn? No matter what we earn, if we earn 50,000, are we spending 52? Are we trying to compete with our neighbor and we're buying boats and cars and everything's on credit? I mean, it's the way we live our lives. Again, gluttony. Are we putting too much food in our bodies? Are we getting fat? Are we not exercising? Are we living in jealousy and anger towards our neighbors and our siblings? I mean, all of these things are a form of dis-ease. So we're not at ease in our bodies and our lives
Mm.
and our finances. And this is what we are called to work on, because it will improve not just even one person improving their life, going, aha, my patterns are bad, I'm unhealthy in these areas, and doing it humbly will impact the people around them, and then they'll impact people around them, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. And, you know, uh, what's in the food is based on greed. It's not healthy. It does harm over time. Even the what do you call it in Diet Coke? The oh, I can't even think of it. I have someone erased my
Aspartame,
chalkboard.
aspartame.
Yes, aspartame. So
Yeah.
that was like a pop. Do not enter. Do not allow.
Yeah, neurotoxin, just like fluoride. When you realize that it is
Yes.
a satanic system, I mean, as a Christian, you can now, some people can't understand the level of malevolence and
No,
evil.
because we're surviving it. Like it's not.
Yeah, but
We're
God
not
made it so
dropping.
strong that, I mean, He made us so
Yes.
strong. He made such a good design but we have been inundated with poison,
Yes. Yes.
told that babies need a shot out of the womb for sexually transmitted disease, the
Yes.
Hep B.
So
Which,
basically,
yeah,
you and I were born into a system where they would not allow what God made us to be. They
no, I
tried
didn't
to
like that
dampen and suppress that
connection.
capacity. Fluoride was a part of that too. It really was.
Oh, I know.
But we're at the end of the game right now. The children were the last stage,
Hmm.
and the Zionist pride flag is all tied. The last stage is the children, and they're in the schools right now. It's
It's
the woke
turning.
ideology,
It's
DEI.
turning. It's turning because so many people, even over the last few years, I presented at a number of student council meetings, some of them Rebel News covered, where
Hmm.
we shut them down, just mentioning gender ideologies and how
Yep.
they're harming all the children, because all kids are created beautifully. And a beautiful, healthy, gay child is now being forced to mutilate their body to be, in effect, straight.
Yeah.
It's atrociously evil,
It's
and the
dark.
truth is coming out. I think Billboard Chris has just taken that on at an international level, doing an amazing job. I think he presented to the EU recently.
He's a
The
hero.
studies are very definitively do not show that children are better off mentally, because that was always the excuse they used to parents. Well, your little Joey will commit suicide if we don't chop off his, you know.
Yeah. His
And
little itty bitty Joey.
now they realize, oh my God, that was so evil, and these kids
Yeah.
are suffering, like physically suffering for the rest of their lives. Plus the drugs like Lupron,
Yeah.
which castrates them and
Yep.
sterilizes them,
Yep.
is so harmful. And so I
And
think we're turning it around. It's a
they offer them made when they're 12. When they're
yes.
12, they're not even in puberty, and because they've lost their future
Hmm.
completely. See, that's what's Zionist about it. Zionist isn't loyal to any religion. They are a dark political ideology. And even Biden was Zionist openly.
Well,
So,
yeah,
I
the thing,
mean, we have to know our enemy. We
it's
cannot
satanic.
fear. We
It's
cannot.
satanic.
Yes, it's satanic, and we can't fear it because there are good people. We do have solutions. We have you. Like you, I know you don't see yourself as a hero, but you are, because you are standing in truth, and that's heroic, especially nowadays. Just like Billboard Chris. He stands in truth, and Kirk, Charlie Kirk, these people are standing in truth, and we see what happens when someone tries to save their country from these central bankers like Gaddafi, JFK. I mean, we see their power, but we can't feel defeated. We don't want to bring you in a negative vibration. We want to bring you into a higher vibration. And this is what this show is so important about, is because people like you are um, giving solutions. You're showing that there are ways that you
Yes.
can fight this by improving your mental capacity, your food intake. All these things can improve your strength that's been
Yes.
taken away from you.
Yes, I think when you first work on yourself, and then you once you start becoming a little healthier self, you build your courage muscle. And in fact, if I could promote my book, this book, and I'm going to be doing, I'll say this for the first time, I'm doing a speaking tour across Eastern Canada in the next few months. So I'm going to be talking, because this has gotten me through this protocol, and it stands, the thrive is tenacity, health, healthy habit upgrades, responsibility, imagination, vision, and faith, and emotions and energy. If you can work on all these elements in any problem, you can solve it. And I have a worksheet, and I go through a lot of training with people, and I've done this in my whole own life many times. People say, "How can you get so much done, Tish?" It's because I'm rooted in this, and I have my own. I catch my patterns faster, so when I'm getting negative in my thinking, or which we all do, because there's a lot of really negative things happening. But once you are rooted in a healthier habits, you start to take action more, which is the critical point. Like, I presented to almost 10 regional councils. I ran 3 federal elections. I'm going to run a locally next year. In next month, I am going to present to all the local regional councils on the glyphosate spraying, because it has been banned in a few municipalities already, and it's just enough. So it's a precedent. There's an example of a letter. You can get an easy 5-minute deputation. Just go to your council. It doesn't matter if you stumble over the words, just do it. Because
Yeah.
once we start presenting in numbers, so we get a few more councils, then a few more, and all of a sudden there's all these areas where they're banning glyphosate now being sprayed. Now, you and I would think, oh my goodness, like, don't people get it? It's just so toxic. And it's starting all the fires, because it's drying out the forest,
Right.
killing all the animals and insects. However, they don't. Unfortunately, they don't. So we have to tell them over and over. Part of it is repetition, repetition, repetition. Just like schooling, that's how they indoctrinated us, repeating the lies over and over. So we have to repeat the truth frequently, often, and with confidence, in a calm way, and without anger, in the
Yes.
power of God, with our authority, but not with anger, because that will not resonate.
Yes. The power of God. You see,
Yeah, that's how I talk.
the
Yes.
glyphosate in the forest, showed it dries. But my perspective is this is an attack because it affects fish, if you can believe it.
Oh yeah.
Fish, deer, moose, all
Everything.
the animals. And this is an attack on anyone who dares to live off grid. So they want to poison the food, the fish.
Hmm.
So this, like I said, we're in a final stage, but I'm not afraid because I know we win.
Yes, me too.
I
I
already read that book, and we
Yeah,
win.
me too. Yo, yeah, absolutely.
And I
I
read them
believe
all. I
so.
read them all, and this is the hard part. It's going to be hard. People who are shallow and deceptive and not really friends. Um, you know, they won't be able to hide anymore. I mean, it's all getting the
The light.
lifting of the veil is happening.
Yes,
The
I see
apocalypse.
that. Yes, it's fascinating time to be alive.
It
And I
is.
think, there's a lot of confusion, and, people, one person believes this and another believes this. What I say to people, my own personal theory, because we don't have to agree on our belief systems. One person's a Christian, one's, a Jewish, one's a Muslim. One person believes aliens are saving us. One person says it's Trump's a bad guy. One says he's a good guy. It's all in all. I mean, what we need to look at is our hearts. That's where God has our faith. Are we good people? Are we loving our neighbors? Are we giving a little to those struggling? Are we repairing when we've spoken out, we've hurt someone? Are we saying sorry? Are we turning the other cheek when someone maybe says something to us because maybe they're struggling somehow instead of holding resentment? I mean, this is what we're called to do. It's all about living in your heart instead of your head, and moving from your negative thinking patterns to your positive, loving frequencies of Jesus. Jesus set the example of being loving and forgiving and speaking the truth. And those are our biggest weapons, I believe. Truth, love, and forgiveness.
Yes, truth is the biggest form of rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When we're dealing with what we're dealing with. But it's not hidden. I think they created all the laws to protect themselves during this stage because I think they knew that they were going to be revealed at one point. So they made sure that they're already spraying. The government it's contracted out from the military. So there's secrecy involved. You got high levels of, what do you call that? Security clearance.
Mm-hmm.
So even leaders don't know about it. They're not privy. So a provincial government wouldn't have a clue about what they're spraying from the skies. They have no idea. It's classified. So that's why we have to have a reset. And it's worth dying for because this isn't right.
No,
You have to pick a side. Are you going to say okay and just let them keep poisoning you until you can't, finish a complete sentence?
well, that's it. That's part of the reason that there's so many neurological conditions. I mean, when we were young, you and I, no, but very few people had Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, and now it's everywhere because they've been spraying aluminum particulates in the sky with the chemtrails for decades. I had a friend. He was a really wonderful man, not so much a friend, but I knew him. He was my chiropractor, and we became friends, but he was also a long distance runner, very healthy. And then out of the blue, like as he's running on tracks, open, outside all the time, not even in forest. I run in forests. So I'm always getting the canopy of the trees to absorb anything, but he developed
That's good. Yes, smart.
Parkinson's, and so many people I knew in our neighborhood all of a sudden, like Alzheimer's. And it's not just from the skies that were being poisoned. It's from, if you watch the documentary
Yep.
Root Cause, through our dental fillings, mercury going right up into our, root
Brain.
canals.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's poisoning, and then the shots poisoning our brains. So, we have a lot of detoxifying to do. And for people who might just not know, and I always like to give tips to detoxify, to pull out the heavy metals from your body. Chlorella is just great. All those algae. So I take organic chlorella every day. I take nascent iodine. I go through a couple times a year with my cats and myself a parasite cleanse with, I use natural things like cloves, black walnut hulls, garlic, and wormwood, which is, the natural version of what ivermectin is. And so we need to pull out the parasites, the bacteria. Oregano oil is great if you have an ear infection or sore throat for a bacterial thing. I love the topical DMSO. I absolutely love it and think everyone should have it. My cat had a growth on his neck. I put it on. Any cuts or wounds, or even a guy did a video that he was blind legally, and he put DMSO on his eyelids, and now he sees. I mean, the thing is, it's just a cure. And I know Amanda Vollmer talks about it, but I've been using it for quite a few years now with great success. So there are things, even baking soda, you get Bob's Red Mill, and it's alkalinity, in
Yes.
your body. So we have, I mean, I'm just giving you a few examples, but we have so many things. Black cumin oil. So it's really good for oil pulling in your mouth. And I brush my teeth with baking soda now. And then occasionally, when I think about it, again, it's upgrading your habits. I do the oil pulling, but there's just so many little tiny habits we can incorporate into our day that lifts the poison out and gives us a lot more joy and energy, the way God built us so that
So
we can do
if you're
stuff.
gonna have free health care, you want to have things that heal and cure. What we have right now is a crime scene.
Absolutely.
They were intubating people that were healthy because
Oh,
they tested positive.
with a
They gave them
fraudulent test.
remdesivir.
Yeah.
That was murder. That's murder.
Uh,
Okay.
I tell you a story because you won't believe it. Even after, like, we're 2025 now, and my own sister still thinks I'm crazy and, calls me all these names,
Of
gets
course.
triggered a lot. Very angry, even though she doesn't understand the sacrifice I made, not even the least. And
Brainwashed.
I put her on all these detox protocols. Anyway, she's jabbed. She just got COVID again. But the scary part for me, who loves her very much, is she went to the doctors and they gave her remdesivir to take. I said to her, I don't care what you say to me. Just don't take that. Promise me. Because, I mean, my own cousin was murdered by remdesivir in the States. He was a healthy, like, nurse in Flint, Michigan, with us, just trusted the hospital, had his cough, checked himself in, and 3 days later he was dead, murdered, probably. And then they got a bonus for the death because they got paid to kill people, but they're still prescribing remdesivir.
Oh,
So we have a lot of work to do, like educating and just keep speaking it. I know it gets draining and tiring, but that's why
it's
people need to be healthy.
it's
Because
heartbreaking.
it is. You get a lot of grief. I get a lot of grief. I've cried myself to sleep many times, but also a lot of loss, a lot of frustration, you do have a lot of anger because people, not only do they not wake up, but they attack you for trying to wake them up. So people need a lot of forgiveness in their heart because there's a lot
Yeah.
of bad behavior out there from people who we thought were a friend or thought were a sibling. And I've experienced more, I'd say more than my fair share, because I also stepped up politically, and that triggered, oh my goodness, did that trigger people. And part of what I do is I step into my sense of humor, because you just can't take it personally. The things that were said to me were literally almost comical. Little old me, who has the most loving heart.
That
And
makes us family.
yeah, it's just like, so you gotta,
Absolutely.
people who are suffering, try to, like, just lift yourself out of the despair into maybe a sense of humor. If you can, watch a
Mhm.
funny movie. And then, yeah, I mean, you can change your diet so that you yourself are healthier. I mean, it does start with what you eat, but also the way you think, because a lot of people are falling for this division within the awake community, and then they're fighting with each other. It's like there's just no point to that. Even if you don't agree, like, let's agree to disagree. You go your way. Wish you all the best. I'll go mine. I'll see you at the next event. There's no need to get these hate-a-thons or egos at all.
No. And I know we have a 10:30 deadline and we're at 10:21. So I don't want to keep you longer than you have to. I know you have a busy schedule. I can't believe I got you a day after your birthday.
Oh, thank you. And I apologize. I missed the last, with everything going on in my
That's
world.
okay. That's
But
okay.
you are
RB,
that's an example of how you were so kind and forgiving about it. But you see, that's how we
that's how
understand
we
each
do it.
other's. That's the best way, because
That's
then when
yes,
it just, and then I felt the goodwill, and,
for
made myself
sure.
available at the earliest. So we have to do these things for each other. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
fire a couple of questions. I mean,
RB Ham RB Ham could have went for hours. So I mean, he's right there with us. I mean, he and we could talk for hours too.
we'll
If
talk again. I've
yes,
been at
will
it,
you
like,
come back?
I would love to. Yes, you get some
That's
topics.
awesome.
I have lots of information, a lot of topics, and I'd be
Yes,
happy
and
to share
valuable.
them. Yeah.
It's valuable because we've got your back, you know?
Well,
Some of my own family stabbed me in the back,
me
but
too. Oh,
I will not
horribly.
return that. I will not
Me
stab you in the
neither.
back.
Me neither.
And tomorrow I have Lisa on, so if
Oh,
it's
I was just out
possible,
with her tonight for dinner.
oh
That was
my
my first
God.
event, and then I went to another
Yeah.
event.
So I will send you the link. I would love it if you have time that you could join us. We're starting at 7, and I'll send you the link in advance. I would love it if you join the conversation with us
Oh, well,
tomorrow.
she's got like tons of great stories. I play soccer on Fridays.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so
It's the,
Friday, just one of my me things, right? I
that's
play on a
okay.
women's league,
That's okay. I just
7
want to
till
invite
8.
you.
Yeah, it keeps me healthy and young. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but I would love to come on another time.
Yeah,
So
I would love it too. I would love it too.
and
I
we can
want to
talk.
inform people, I want them
Yeah,
to
I
understand their bodies better.
I
And you
can.
can coach them on your
Yes.
site.
Yeah, you can reach me. I mean, people come to me all the time for personal life coaching. Like people who are just, they're going through hell, a lot of relationship breakups. They just can't cope, financial issues. I mean, don't buy this book if you're awake. If you're on the show, buy this one, The Thrive Protocol, because I have a whole section on. If you can, you pull up The Thrive Protocol on
I
Amazon,
don't know. I can try.
because that
I will
one
look it
I
up.
this one is I wrote it in 2023. It's on Amazon. I'm going to be doing a book tour across Eastern Canada in April. But this one has a really good guide if you're going through hell or any problem, having a problem with your son, your daughter, your spouse, your sibling, your neighbor, your finances, you just feel overwhelmed, anything. And you got a health issue. It gives a lot of good tips, as well as it talks about a lot of the core frauds, but in a way that you can explain to someone who's asleep. There we go. This is the one to get. And I think you'll enjoy it. It's like they say, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for personal transformation, the foundations for what I think our society could be, as well as worksheets along the way. So I think this one is well worth the investment for anyone who's struggling.
Right on. I added it.
Thank you so much. And
Thank you for coming.
no, and I'm happy to talk about another time. I know it's a hot topic, but politics and some of the limitations of all the parties, and where we can, do best, and some of the people who are doing a great job across platforms. And so yeah, I think we do need to come together. It's not about, there's limitations as we see with the current mainstream parties, but there's some, there are some people speaking out now within the Conservative Party, and even some of the other parties. So I'm not going to bash for per se these parties, but I'm not also going to say there's like disregard the work that PPC did, which was huge for our country, holding the line on the big issues: late term abortion, gender mutilation, sexualization of our children, all the COVID tyrannies, the MAID, the war in Ukraine, the incredible harm of DEI. I mean, the list is long that the Conservatives didn't tackle. So I think they deserve a place of honor in the history of our country. And I'm very, very, I'm not going to say proud because that's a sin, but I was very honored to run and represent that party federally 3 times. So
Yeah, well, I thank you for running, and I hope you're the health minister in our
I want
new
to be. I want to
in
be.
our new government
I want to
because
be. I will be. I will be. I
there's
will
not a
be.
lot of profit in cures, though. I mean, there's not a good business.
I
It's
have
not
a
a good.
whole. No, we have a whole thing that will help, because the productivity of people, if they're not sick, they won't be
Yeah.
taking I mean, we need to transform things from disease to health
Exactly.
and get back to health. So yeah. Anyways, it was my pleasure to be
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Well, yeah. Well, let's set up another time
Yes.
on a topic. Get some hot questions from your audience, and I'm happy to get on the hot
Yeah,
seat
that's a
and answer
great
them.
idea. That's a great
Yeah,
idea. Thank you for
I'd love to.
coming, and thank you all at home for coming. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have Tish here tonight, day after her birthday, which is to me a big sacrifice because it's a big day, and I'm honored. I look forward to having her on the next show, on another show. Sorry, and tomorrow we have Lisa Robinson coming, and that should be very interesting because she's been to hell and back, and hopefully it won't be too long for Tish to return because there's a lot of information, food, remedies, cures. Let me just see if I can find her. Yeah, I just want to put her site there. If you're able, let me see if I can fix this. There we go. Um, this is a site I'm going to add to all the comment sections because it is a way to um, coaching, speaking, online training. I just love this. Her podcasts are here. There's online training as well, and so much more. I don't have boring guests. I have amazing guests, and I love all of them. Thank you for coming and being a part of this.